The businesses in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before you is a set of minutes from the regular session of July the 5th, 2023. I look for a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Second vote?
Yes.
Yes.
You see Andy said he can,
Okay. No. Andy, you with us?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
We're going to move this agenda around a little bit since we have folks this evening. And the agenda looks a little long, but it's as bad as it looks. So I know that good folks from Courtyards on Riverside is here. I know, gentlemen, all three of you are on the board of advisors for the HOA. I don't know if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself one by one, and then if you want to state the reasons for being here.
I'm Keith Donnell. I'm a resident advisor for our HOA.
My name is Steve Herbert, and I'm also an advisor to the board.
And I'm Jim Kennedy. I'm also advisor to the board. I'm in charge of the finance side.
But I know we've had discussions about a couple things. One of them is block cameras, and you all have asked about that particular technology. And I know that we have talked about doing a pilot project with you all with one camera. And just kind of your clarification to the board. Block generally does a 2-year contract. They have indicated that they were willing to enter into a 1-year contract for pilot purposes. And there was a discussion about 5 cameras minimum. They have waived that for this period for this project. Not that later on, I'm sure their business model will change for the 20th time. But that's what it is now. And so I know you've indicated your financial support, and maybe you want to talk about that a little bit. So.
Yeah, first of all, we're thankful to the township for thinking at least about partnering with us on this proposal. Our community, we think, is uniquely situated for this pilot program because it's only going to take 1 camera to provide the monitoring that we need there to really enjoy the So, the board has not yet formally approved this. Our board is still controlled by outcome, but all the resident advisors, board advisors, our president, who sends her greetings and regrets she can't be here. We're really in favor of this. We think it's a great security idea. We enthused about kind of being the pilot program, the edge of this. I think the township hopes to broaden this program to other places and courses. So we'll be happy to step up on our share of this first program next year. Really appreciate support of the township.
And I know specifically, I know the cost of this sheet is for 1 camera is $27.50. So, and you folks said you'd be willing to share what percentage of that?
Certainly half of that.
Half of it. Okay. And so when you say EPCON needs to approve this, so that process.
That's just a matter of process, Chad.
Okay.
They're aware of what these discussions have been.
Okay.
And we will get the board together and we right and get that. We don't anticipate any issue there.
Okay. Well, to move things along, I move to approve and authorize the funds to go towards 1 block camera for 1 year, and that we would pay for half of that overall expense, which is $27.50. And we would use ARP funds to do so, since earlier council indicates that we could do that.
It's- I second that motion.
Vote?
Yes.
Yes.
One question, if I may, have
Yes.
they changed any other terms, given that they've waived the 5 years and? Or
Yeah,
the,
they-
I'm sorry,
they-
2 years and waived the
Yeah.
5 cameras?
Yeah, they're gonna have to issue terms and conditions in a contract, which I think,
So the approval is contingent on whatever that final,
yeah, if you don't agree with the terms of the contract, which I think, Julie, and, Roche's office would review it, because she's been reviewing all the other ones, so she probably already has a copy of it. So, but yeah, we'll want her to review it to make sure terms and conditions
didn't change.
haven't changed since, yeah. Last time we saw them, so. And I know that the police department will talk to you a little bit about providing a monthly update and report. So I think we can work that out with good chief in regards to what you guys are looking for in regards to that type of information. Flock does in their system provides a report, but I'm not sure if all those details are relevant, or we don't want to be sharing personal identifiable information, obviously, but. Go ahead, Chief.
We do the stats of any time that there's an alert or anything like that. The only thing we can't give is obviously personal information on who it was, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Chet, will a contract be presented then? Is that your understanding?
Yes, there is a contract in terms and conditions, and we'll just ask them to share that with us. We've seen it, but to Michelle's point, we want to make sure that it hasn't changed since the last time we've seen it. So our legal counsel will want to look at it. We'll share it with you all. You can look at it, and we can have a conversation to ensure that those terms and conditions have not changed. Okay. Last item, AAP light, maybe next week we can get you an update on the progress of that for the entrance down there. Okay. Anything else, gentlemen?
Thank you.
Okay. Ian, how's the roads down there?
Good. Walked through phase 2 last week with Dave Elder. Put together a punch list for concrete work. Looks like they'll be working on that here really soon. The plan is to pave the street sometime in September down there. Phase 2.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions?
Does that mean phase 2 is about done?
Phase 2 is near completion, yes.
You're more than welcome to stay. We're not. I know it's exciting, so. But thank you for your support and bringing it forward. Okay, we have another guest.
Yes, I am.
Corey from Johnson and Locks is online to speak about their construction management services and how they can help us with the salt barn.
Okay. Corey, how we doing tonight?
Doing well, thanks. How are you guys?
Oops, can't hear you.
Hold on a second. We may have some technical difficulty.
How's this? Any better?
I don't know. Well, let's just try and go to the radio. Try it now.
Now can you hear me?
Perfect.
Yes, good. Okay, thank you everybody for allowing us to come speak with you briefly here. As Ian mentioned, my name is Corey Van Lanningham with Johnson Locks Construction, Ohio. Just to give you a brief overview of who we are. We are a general contractor here with offices in Columbus and Cleveland. The company was founded in the year 2000 in Orlando, Florida, and opened up offices here in Ohio in 2015. Since 2015, we have been very active in the public sector as far as general contracting and construction management. The majority of our work is with the state of Ohio and then local governments like yourselves. We're involved in several different procurement programs that allows us to perform work for local and state government entities. We team up with several different other companies to get this accomplished. I've brought along with me Jonathan Schlesselman with the Gordian Group. I'm going to let him talk a little bit about the Gordian Group and what their role is as they team up with us.
Thank you for including us this evening. Gordian provides job order contracting based procurement solutions for public entities such as yourselves. If you have not used job order contracting previously, it is a program and a system that starts with a construction task catalog. So it's unit pricing for a wide variety of construction services. We can do anything for you, such as this salt barn, salt dome building, any kind of flat work or renovation of buildings, etc. Our company is a little over 30 years old. Job order contracting is a process that was created within the U.S. military in order to expedite construction projects by offering the construction task catalog to a group of bidders. The bidders apply a bid factor, which is their competitive component, and therefore meets the state of Ohio's requirement for competitive bidding on public projects. We are partnered with Sourcewell as a provider of cooperative purchasing services. Johnson Locks is one of several contractors who competitively bid our offering that was managed by Gordian and sponsored by Sourcewell. So that is this, and we can provide you their contract information, any kind of legal or more general descriptions of the program and the process, depending on your need for understanding and need for a level of comfortability utilizing the process. I think if you want to continue regarding the project specifics, Corey, or are there any questions?
Okay. No? Go ahead, Corey.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan. So we wanted to start with that just to give you guys a brief overview of who we both are and how we work together. As Jonathan mentioned, the Gordian Group works directly with Sourcewell, who is a purchasing program that I believe you guys are already a member of. Sourcewell gives you the ability to purchase many different things, anything from office supplies to fleet vehicles, and then also construction services. And Gordian manages that construction services side of Sourcewell. And we, as Jonathan mentioned there, we went through a competitive bid process to become one of the certified contractors within that. So that procurement requirement has already been met. Essentially, what that allows a public entity to do is work directly with a contractor in Gordian without having the need to advertise bid postings and get the standard 3 letterhead bids, which are a typical requirement. So what the process really does is ends up streamlining it and makes that front end part of a construction project go much quicker. It's a very transparent process, and we can, as Jonathan mentioned, we can send you more detail on the task catalog that he mentioned. All the construction items that go into a project are pre-priced in a catalog. And so it's very transparent. You guys can see what you are getting, see what your money is going towards. When I say it's in a construction task catalog, every nut and bolt that goes into a project is listed out in a proposal with a price next to it, and it totals it all up for you. So that's some of the benefits of the process if you guys choose to utilize it. And again, the transparency of it, you can see what you're getting, see what your money's going towards. So in a nutshell, how the process works is we would meet with your team on site to look at a project. At that point, we would gather the subcontractors that we feel would be a good fit for that project and get pricing from them. And then we would plug everything into that task catalog and get that price back to you within a few weeks. So it really does speed up that initial process. Did someone have a question?
So Corey, I just got a couple quick questions.
Yes,
And
sir.
I know, Mr. Roper and Mr. Elliott and Mr. English will probably have more questions, but
Sure.
one, who in Franklin County or Central Ohio have you worked with township wise? I mean, my understanding, you may have worked with Jefferson Township, but is there anybody else?
Yeah, we've recently completed a couple of projects with Jefferson Township, working on a third one with them. We're also getting ready to break ground for a maintenance building with Truro Township as well. And then we've worked with a handful of other public entities. As far as townships, those are the ones that we've recently worked with. But we've worked with libraries and counties and schools and that kind of thing as well.
And my second question is, and please excuse my ignorance here. I mean,
Sure.
I mean, it sounds like your services is kind of either like a general contractor or project manager in many ways.
Mhm.
I mean, is there, and if that is true, is there a percentage of a fee associated with your services? Assume there is, but when that.
Sure. And you broke up there a little bit. Your question was the fees for the general services. Was that correct?
For your services, I mean, I assume that kind of view you as a general contractor or project manager.
Yes.
And if that's the case, what are the fees that you charge relative to your services?
So the fees that are included in our proposal tie into the bid factor that Jonathan mentioned. So part of our bidding process to become a certified contractor in the program is we had to provide a bid factor. In other words, if the task catalog has a line item price for painting a wall, we put essentially a markup bid factor on that. And that markup has to include our supervision, our project management, our profit, all of our overhead, and it also includes the Gordian fees that they collect on this as well. So it really, the fees for our service ends up being typical to any other type of project, whether it was a hard bid, public bid. We typically try to cover, about 7 or 8% in overhead, 5 to 8% in profit, and then the Gordian group gets 7.5% of contract value as well.
Can you repeat that one more time, Corey? The last piece about overhead and the percentages.
So what it comes out to be is, I would say roughly between 5 and 7% for overhead, which would include project management, supervision, estimating, all those types of things. We try to get in the 5 to 7% for profit, and Gordian Group also collects 7.5% of the contract value.
Okay, thank you.
All those fees are baked into the proposal when you receive it. So you'll receive a detailed line item proposal that is very specific and therefore very auditable and trackable regarding the exact scope of the work. And you'll have one price. The fees are not beyond the pricing that we'll submit. So they'll all be built in once
Andy?
receive that package.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, cool. So what do you need from us to be able to put a bid together for our salt barn project?
Really, all we need are just the details of the project, which Ian and I have been in discussion. I would just like to meet him on site so he can show us the location, the size of the building, all those types of details. That's all we would really need from you guys. It's my understanding you are already a member of Sourcewell, so that part is already taken care of. If you happen to not be a member, it's a very quick process. It's free for you guys to sign up to become a member of Sourcewell. But at that point, we just need information on the project.
so you're gonna need, where we're proposing to put it, the structure, size of the structure,
Correct.
type of the system that you're gonna need to, like the salt cover system that Ian's looking at, that type of thing.
Correct. What you want the building built out of, there are a few options on a salt barn. And if there is design work that is required, that's also something that you can run through this program. And we can hire architects, engineers through this program as well to work under our umbrella to get the construction drawings ready for permitting as well.
So do you guys handle the permitting process through the governing municipality?
Yes, we certainly can.
And do your fees include all the permitting fees and that sort of thing? Or are those
Yes.
additional to the contract?
No, those we would make sure that we include that in that task catalog. There are line items specifically for things like design work and permitting.
Okay. Are those marked up or are those a pass-through costs in terms of, the fees that you guys charge, or, like the municipality charges us X, for permitting
Permit
fees? Are
fees,
those marked up?
we would not mark those up. Those are what we would put in there as a reimbursable. And so those would just be a straight line item.
And Beth, I don't know, do you know if we even have to, as a government entity, do we even have to pay permit fees to the city of Dublin? I'm sure we do, but I thought I'd ask the question.
That would be specific to your jurisdiction in a conversation with, for you guys to have with them.
Yeah.
I've seen it both ways where we've done work for public entities where they were able to get by without, and most of the time they still do, but I've seen it both ways.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. So you just need site plan, salt, whatever salt structure that we're planning on using. I think we're going to some sort of a poured wall system for the walls. And then what about one of the things that I had talked to Ian, and I don't know whether he had chatted with you, but we're looking at doing a temporary kind of structure to make up, and that would be part of the demolition that we're going to lose one of our buildings.
Mhm.
Are you guys would handle all the demolition and that sort of thing as well?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Anything else, Andy?
Nope, I'm good.
Andy, if they need to be on site, and obviously they do, we need to make sure that you're there. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just I'm here until Friday, but I'll be back Friday late. So I'm in all next week if we want to do something. Oh, I guess that's another thing for this project, just based on what you talked to Ian. So if we cut you guys loose tomorrow or whatever, what's your time frame based on what you know? Not that we're going to hold you to it, but I mean, is this something we can accomplish by the end of the year, or do you think it's going to push in the next year?
No, something like this can absolutely be accomplished by the end of the year. As far as a rough timeline on how this process typically works, if once we get on site and do what we call a joint scope meeting or a pre-bid meeting, once we have all the information, there will be a little bit of back and forth between us and you guys to make sure that we have all the details exactly how you want them. And then we'll need, maybe 3 weeks or so to get pricing together and that back to you. And then one thing I also wanted to mention is if you guys want to move forward with the project and approve the proposal, the purchase order is written directly to Johnson Locks. And then Gordian falls under our umbrella as far as their fees and how they receive payment. They are certainly on everyone's team, but the purchase order goes directly to Johnson Locks, and then we take care of Gordian's fee outside of our financial dealings with you guys. But that process of putting together all the details to having a proposal in your hands is typically 3 to 4 weeks. Now that could change if there is design involved. If we do have to go hire an architect and engineer to put together construction drawings, of course, that would lengthen that initial time period of having final pricing.
Okay.
But I don't see an issue if we get started on this sooner than later. I don't see an issue with having this erected for you by the end of the year.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
We have one more question. Who at Jefferson Township and Truro Township, who did you work with directly? Do you know?
Yeah, so we did an addition at the fire station. So that was Chief Bradford Scholl,
Okay,
fire station for Jefferson. And then we did an addition and an interior renovation at their administration building, who was Dion Grenner. And then with Truro, it was Jason Nicodemus has been our point of contact there. We're getting ready to start, as I mentioned, a maintenance building for them, which will be behind one of their fire stations.
okay, thank you. We like to do our due diligence.
Understood. I encourage you to reach out to those guys. They can, let you know that those projects were the design build process where we hired an architect engineer under our umbrella, went through that process. So if that's something that you guys want to know a little more about, you can certainly ask those guys how that process went. And aside from this meeting here, if you guys would feel more comfortable with a one-on-one meeting with Jonathan and myself, any of you guys and Ian and Andy, if you guys want to meet in person, we're happy to do that, but we can sit down and go over in more detail about the contract, about how the pricing works, the design build process, any of those types of things that we don't want to take up too much of everyone's time here tonight. So we tried to keep it brief, but we're certainly open to discussing in detail more if that would make you guys understand it a little better or feel more comfortable.
Both of them this morning. So, okay. Yeah, and that, Corey, that's probably something that we'll ask that you both come in, sit down with Andy and have a conversation. I mean, you could probably wrap that up with a walk around the facility and the site and all that good stuff, but try to be as efficient as possible with everyone's time. We're very respectful of everybody's business. So,
absolutely.
Mr. Rowan?
I think all my questions have been answered.
No.
No, nothing else.
Okay, Ian, last minute, anything?
I think we're good.
Okay,
Be in touch.
thank you both, gentlemen. We appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Absolutely. Thank you for allowing us to talk to you guys, and we look forward to working with you soon.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye now.
Okay, public comment period. Anything from which side?
Nothing new to report.
Worthington Hills. Down from behind the wall. No. I know we took care of the other two.
Last year they took off last year they took it down. They store it.
Uh-huh.
You guys didn't touch it. Did you?
I just noticed it was up from the meeting tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'll include you on a text to Jen and Tara and just say if they want it down or not. Because I think they're in post. I mean, I didn't look at that close, but it looks like
Yeah, it's on post.
okay.
They took it off of there last year so they could store it. Literally with everything here, I don't want to take a chance of damaging it and storing it here.
And Chief, I know to add to Michelle's comment the other day about the wake up call, we could also remember they also need to do the newcomer Mark Haven.
We will have an after action, I think, the second week of August.
Okay. Okay. Nothing with anything else from Epcon, Ravello? Zoning. Sure.
Nothing new on the violations. 1366 Oakbourne had a contractor out yesterday to tackle the front of the house. I'm on regular speaking terms with the owner now, or at least voicemail exchanges, and she promised today that what they didn't get to, they would get to if I told her they need to get to it. And so I took pictures today, and they left the weeds around the mailbox and the fire hydrant. I don't know why. Everything else was taken care of, but the weeds are there around the mailbox and the fire hydrant. So I called her and say, get them back out and finish that. But I made great progress. So it looks good. They still have a 30-foot dead tree in the front and haven't touched the back yet. So we're on a schedule now to
Okay,
take care of these one at a time. But the view from the road is massively improved.
okay,
And she's very cooperative.
okay.
And then Merwood, we've closed that file, so she has managed to cut the grass, had the grass cut again, branches picked up again herself for the second time since we did it, and looking good. So I closed that file. So,
I have to remember it's not my house, so it's, never mind. It's improved. So
it's improved vastly, yeah.
never mind. Winston Court.
Winston Court, I also closed the file, and they finished taking care of the last bit that I wanted them to take care of.
Very good.
Maintenance has been often again, and so it's looking good.
Okay.
The file's also closed.
Anything other than that?
We just, I brought up the big dead tree on Merwin today, and the homeowner asked, because it's a 40-foot dead pine tree leaning over the road. Oh, it's not in the road, but it's leaning over the road. And so the owner asked, well, what can the township do to help? Well, I can get you a list of tree contractors, but that's about all I can do. So
They were looking for financial assistance.
they were looking for financial, because they've had bids before, and this is $1,000 tree for removal, typical. So
Yeah, like the last one we had to have done, the prices were going up quite a bit. For those big trees. But
No, I
that's not that we would, but that's a scary precedent. Can you imagine for all the trees
Yeah.
that we have?
I
If we
would.
started that.
And this one is, it is a safety hazard to the road,
Mhm.
because it's dead and a big wind could blow right across the road. So
Trying to remember where that's at, but I mean, is it totally dead?
it's totally dead.
Which side of the big curve?
No, it's on, really looking at this, 6609.
Oh, okay,
It's a corner house.
Yeah.
The two corners.
okay.
And they said, well, I don't know if that tree's on their property. And I said, it is, because somebody has actually put out a stake where the property line is because of this tree, probably. And so there is a highlighted stake that shows where the property line is, and the tree's definitely on their property.
Okay.
So there's that. Not much else.
Okay. Andy, anything?
Yeah, just update on zoning code. So we finished up with Jen and Joe, the review of the zoning code. Jen's going to put together a redlined copy, should be done in August. That then we'll sit down so you guys can kind of see all the changes that have been made to the zoning code. And then we start the process of, getting it approved, that sort of thing. So just, we are done with our review. Then Jen's hands. So we're timeframe is middle of August, I think we talked about with Jen.
Is this something you want a special meeting for, or is there so much there, or is kind of highlighted?
I think the way we're going to do it is just kind of give everybody the ability to read through it. It's a lot. So depending on when you get it and you want to just kind of flip through it, and if there's questions that come out of it, it's just basically getting rid of a lot of the zoning, connecting the dots. A lot of things that were totally irrelevant are now fixed. Getting rid of a lot of the zoning uses that we won't ever use or have used. So we'll probably go from like this down to like this from our zoning standpoint.
Andy, I had a question. I had been keeping a list for quite a long time of different issues over the years, things that needed to be checked or added. Is that stuff all in there as well?
Why don't you send it to me, Beth, just to make sure that we got it covered?
Okay, sure.
Road department.
Under old business, the water line project, we wanted resurfacing there. Mark from the county sent me a schedule today. They're looking to start, this is all weather permitting, the full depth repairs next week, Monday through the 24th through the 28th. There's 5 days scheduled for repairs. Now, this is all weather depending. They're calling for rain. Couple days this week, might
Snow.
push them back.
If the gold comes in,
Yeah.
the gold
What
flake.
is the difference between
That
18
is
and
scheduled
24
for
karat gold?
August.
Yeah.
What's that?
What's the difference between 18 and 24 karat gold? I mean, how shiny or is it? That's quite true.
You know, you don't have to take it all out if there's any glare, right? You understand, you have to redo it all if there's glare.
Oh, we're passing out sunglasses.
Or Ray-Bans.
We don't need streetlights, you know.
Then the milling is scheduled for the second week of August. Directly after the milling, fiber mat is scheduled. They don't have us down for resurfacing, but I'm assuming it'll be right there toward the end of
Shortly
August.
after that.
Yeah.
This sounds like in August.
Yeah, the full depth is what's gonna happen next week. They'll be digging
Weather
out
permit.
sections. Mostly on the inside of the circle. Where the water line wasn't at. Repairing those, they'll be digging about 8 inches and then rebuilding the street.
You have a couple more cement things to do there
We're working-
on the storm drain.
Oh, the storm drains, yes, you guys are up there,
You were there
they
today.
pour out 3 today, we're gonna probably pour those Wednesday morning, looks like Wednesday.
Are you rebuilding them?
Yeah, we had the throats have kind of settled a little bit on these catch basins, a couple rows of bricks washed out on the top. We went through all of the catch basins on Circle on the Green and faced up and redoing the throats were needed.
Of course you did.
Well, that's part of every project.
Mhm. Sure it is. Just to dig a hole in the ground by my house.
That's a whole sinkhole.
Lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
I have had a few emails on the areas that are settling in the yards.
Okay.
I plan on toward the middle of August, we're gonna get through this heat of July and most of August, and I'll ask Aqua to come back. And touch those up.
So can we do a write-up of what we're talking about for Circle on the Green? And here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to do a write-up, that not only the townships and but that we get it out to their kind of 63 houses.
Something like that.
63 house kind of email chain going around, because not everybody reads our emails. I know that's a shock.
Well, I was gonna ask Mr. Roper, like I was gonna get with Luke tomorrow with this schedule,
Yes,
to have that sent out.
yes.
And if
We
you're
can-
part of the chain link.
Right, well, I mean, you can like earmark Circle on the Green and Green side, right? On the Perry Township emails, and I don't. You know, that's part of our little disclaimer on our email thing that we're not supposed to,
Okay.
share it, because some people don't want their email on there. But we don't have all 63 homes on our email, I'm guessing it's about maybe 50 of the 63.
Yeah.
And I've used that to update them about 3 times on this stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna get with Luke, and get something
Okay.
together and send it out to that Circle on the Green. and Green side.
Yeah, I mean, if we could layer the communication, that would be great. I mean, we'll always have residents who say, I never saw it, never saw it. So if you kind of keep telling them, it'd be helpful.
I think everybody, the buzz on here, everybody's real happy with the way it went. A little bit of disruption, obviously, but everybody's excited to get a nice new paved street. I keep telling everybody, get their projects done. I know Tom was doing one on the green side where they got some stuff they put on the street, they're doing a big patio or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, get that done
Get that done before the new street.
before the new street comes.
Yeah, I was gonna talk, I didn't know if AAP, I didn't drive through there today, if they're still working on that. Their green side, they were doing a directional bore.
Right on that corner, kind of.
Yeah, they had to rerun electric line got hit during
Oh,
the
okay,
water line. They had to run a new cable through there for that.
okay. But they're boring underneath it.
I think the most of the boring under the street, they were working in the backyards last week. I didn't even have to see, they were still there today. But I was just gonna give them a heads up that. I can't remember the company that's doing that for AP. That's all I have for the Circle and Green. I don't have any more updates. I haven't heard anything since that email went out. So
Let me stop you there. So what we said is if we didn't hear anything by Friday, we get on the phone. Yeah, who is the sticking point there? You can tell-
I don't know who it is at Columbus. There's an issue. Ryan Stowe is at the county is handling everything with the
City.
city of Columbus, yes.
Okay.
City of Columbus owns the water. Ryan, the county owns the lines. The county hasn't ran into an issue where it wasn't their water in the lines. There was a whole new process. They had to sign up a GIS program they had to sign up for. Put in the coordinates for testing. The trouble's been getting the city of Columbus there to test the water, so DLC can move further on to the golf course. The golf course cannot pay a tap-in fee to the city of Columbus. This is all what I've been told until the water is tested. And,
Sure,
Yeah.
but I mean, reasonable amount of time has passed that we're waiting on city. This is not a comment to you, but that we're waiting on the city, right, to get the water tested. So that's Ryan
Right,
Ryan
so-
Stowe is
So he's
Franklin
with the
County.
county.
He's the drainage.
that
So
owns that.
So can we have a call with Ryan, which will lead into having a call with Renner? Can we have a call within this week? The reason I ask that is that on next Tuesday, I have lunch with the Director of Utilities in Columbus. I want to know what the holdup is, and if it's the city of Columbus, I need to know who they're working with. So I can let her know that my list has been added to because they.
Because it's been how long now? that we've
It's been a
been
long-
waiting
It's
on
been a
that?
long
They
time.
started the same week as the Circle and Green project.
So,
And this is not
10
a
weeks?
big project.
Yes. No, the water line, the extension is in on the IL
Right.
side.
we're just close enough to see final, but we just can't seem to get there.
Can't get
because of
there,
that.
yeah.
The guardrail is still down.
Right,
There's gonna be, the majority of the work on the golf course is all directional drill. They still need to get equipment in right there. Where the guardrail would be, that's where they would set up their drill.
and I understand all of that, but if we don't even have a time frame, then it's just gonna keep dragging on. Or if there's, for all we know, City of Columbus thinks they're waiting on something else,
Something.
you know?
So let's start, we know it's not the county engineer because they signed off on stuff, right?
Well, at first, there was no permit issue. That's how Steve Buskirk and utilities down there got them to get in there and clean up the gravel out of the road and do that yard restoration. There was never a permit issued and bond paid for that project. The county demanded that 2 weeks ago when they were in there doing that restoration. Demanded them to take care of that, the bond, and our needs to get that yard, get the gravel out of there, get the yard restored, get the driveway back to normal. Threatening to get that. Now, everything else is,
Contingent upon getting the water tested.
getting water tested and
Get time, please.
I can set up a Zoom call for you
Yeah,
guys on
let's
it.
get the other time with Ryan, and if he needs Brenner there, I don't know there. If not, he'd be there, but I just need to understand who he's working with. And what is the last step and what he needs, so we can go get whatever he needs, so we can move on to the final. Get this football across the line, so. I'm sure it's frustrating. It's gotta be frustrating for the presidents, because it's always frustrating when a
Right.
contractor comes and then leaves and never comes back.
Right.
It's like, So,
And we just don't even know what to tell them to
right.
expect. Like, people can adjust to a lot of things if we can tell them.
Yeah,
Things are.
everyone wants to know the end date.
Yeah.
End game, so, yeah.
Like Wilson Bridge, the never ending.
Well, I saw that in the Columbus Dispatch, that's gonna be stretched way out, yeah.
Really.
I'll send you
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
article, I saw it this
Two
weekend.
more
City of
months.
Worthington posted it, that they found more damage when they were doing the rehab
getting
work,
it.
and so it will be the end of August,
Mhm.
September 1.
So I'm not on you, I'm sorry. I'm just,
It's- no, it's
I'm
not.
just trying to figure out where are we, what do we have to do? Who do we have to talk to get that thing done? Kind of like,
Get moving.
It's frustrating. That's it for old business, new business.
So the resolution to proceed with both of the levies is back on because the legal counsel, Becky Prince-Horn, was working with the auditor on another matter. And this has just gotten so complicated. The auditor still doesn't have any guidance out to anyone. So long story short, the per $100,000 is equal to $32 per $100,000 home, is where it had been, which my understanding is more accurate, but because of what the auditor is expecting, it had to be reworded to say $37 per $100,000 home. So we need to redo these, and then hopefully you will approve them. And tomorrow morning I get to make another drive over to the Board of Elections to submit again.
That $100,000 figure, that's on the auditor's website though, right? That's, I think that needs to be made clear, considering that, geez, I think my house is not worth, whatever, $600,000, I'm gonna pay 6 times that. And if you go to the auditor's website, their house is worth, 400.
Yes,
Right.
because it's 35%
Per,
of the total,
Appraised.
yeah,
value.
appraised value. That's what you're getting taxed on.
Right,
But then there's credits in there too, which is what is not being reflected in this $37. So although I think we were all with the understanding that the goal was to make sure that residents had a really clear picture of what they were going to be paying. This doesn't really paint that picture, but it's required. So that's where
So not
education,
32, but
education,
37.
education. Yes, for both. So
We should just make beat a dead horse. We should make it clear though that they should check the valuation of their home on the auditor's
Yes.
website.
In the communications.
Because
right.
that's always gonna be a lesser number than what they expect.
correct. Yeah, and Luke does have a page set up, so I'll have him add that information if it's not already there. I didn't look last week, so.
So you need
Uh,
new motions?
Yes, please.
yeah. So I move to approve the resolution to proceed with election on the questions of renewal of tax in excess of the 10 million limitation collection year beginning 2024.
I'll make that motion.
Second, vote.
Yes.
Resolution to proceed with election on the questions of renewal tax in excess of 10 mils limitation collection year beginning 2025. I so move. Vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
So that goes to the Board of Elections
I'm taking it tomorrow morning.
tomorrow morning. But everything else gets changed. I mean, that number gets changed wherever it is.
Wherever it is, will get
Okay.
changed. Yes,
Okay.
I'll share the information with everybody that
Thank you.
is involved with this, so.
That's,
Anything else?
that's all I have.
Can I get back to the salt farm? Because it's, Andy, can I get back to the salt farm? So when do we suspect? I mean, hypothetically, that we do our due diligence, things seem to work out with this company. I'm hopeful in the next couple meetings that we should be able to have some kind of proposal to move forward. Do you think that's doable in the next 30 days?
Yeah, I mean, talking with Ian, I still would like to get another number to check against. Not saying that this isn't a good program and whatever, but I think what Ian, you're gonna need to select the system that you want. I've got the site plans and can kind of detail those out a little bit. But like we were talking last week, I need to know the size so I can modify the site plan. Maybe we can gain a little bit more buffer on the west and north side of the site. So it's really, Ian, you need to identify what size you want. And then I think we also indicated that we were going to do an addendum to just price the, being able to replace the storage that we were going to have. So if you can pick a size that's close, I mean, I labeled the sizes on the site plan, so we know it'll fit with those sizes. So if you go smaller or longer, I just need to know so I can update the site plan. And then we can sit down with those guys. And then also, I think go to Rinaldi and have them price it as well.
Sounds good. One more thing, and Beth, is there any way to set a call up with Dion and folks over Turo?
Yes.
Okay. If you're on that call, see if Andy's available.
You want Jefferson on as well, or just those two?
Yeah, Dion.
Oh, that's right, Deion's with,
Yeah,
okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, get both of them on. Let them walk you through what they experienced and what processes look like from their perspective.
Okay.
All the good and the bad, the ugly. So.
Sounds good.
This should be a pretty simple project. Compared
to.
We're talking three walls of base and a roof.
Yeah.
No heating.
There you go. There's your site plan. I don't know why you guys are making this so
No
hard.
utilities, I mean.
It's like, it's that easy. Go down to Lowe's, get some free pass.
Jim will just go out and wave his hands and it'll just, everything will be good.
He was out there the whole time on the
Concrete day.
sidewalk. He knows what he's doing now.
Police department.
Under old business, we have some events coming up from Worthington Hills. September 4th is the Kilbourne 5K, and when September 9th, there's a street concert party, newcomer, and on October 22nd, there's a 5K for the Race for Cancer.
I looked at the permits. I mean, they're all running the same route.
Yeah, they're doing the same route.
Oh,
that
so
the
it's gonna be
firecracker
cool.
drive did.
The newcomer street concert, is that something I'd like to talk to you about? Dogs and horses. I'm
I
trying
thought the
to,
whole point of these were not for dog and pony shows, quite literally.
I'm trying to accommodate
Nice.
points about the
Like that.
wake up thing again.
You want them to redo it?
No, I want a couple horses and then they get that.
Did we,
We missed,
I thought they did that already.
they were already in all the parade. We're not gonna have them go around Brookside just because they didn't hit every
300
street.
people there.
You're gonna add hours of police so that somebody can see the horses more closely.
The horses will cost, it's just a few apples.
The police on
You and I will ride the horses. How about that?
Oh, thank you.
Anything else, Chief?
No.
Really? Nothing?
Nothing.
You want to buy a helicopter or anything?
I mean, that's like giving moon.
You already got a teeny little helicopter.
Well, I can't afford it now. We gotta put horses at the concert.
I'm sorry, somebody didn't see the police when they drove by. I need them on every street in Brookside. Thank you. On a different day.
Well, they're there every day on every street.
Teach them how to do autographs as well.
We're there 5 times a day and they're on the ring.
I don't think you did the wake up call. You used to.
Oh, my God. We didn't?
Oh, no.
Yeah, there was too much construction we couldn't get through.
Nice.
And I had to clean up.
Nice.
Nothing like passing the buck.
That was impressive. That was good. I like that. Skilled deflection.
Plus there.
There's a big hole in the road place, and it just wouldn't look good.
So the fiscal officer has a big agenda.
I do have a. You ready to change subjects? Okay, we did not cover the third, and it's already down here, isn't it?
Oh, I'm sorry, Madam Administrator, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Cute.
I'm sorry, it got real, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
That was
and I was,
quick. Okay, so sorry.
That's all right. I don't have any updates on the 161 project unless you know of anything new. The Portage project proposal, which was the loan for the folks that have to tap in over on West Case and Northport. John Albers had talked to the board about doing a voluntary assessment of their taxes. I'm going to be working with Pete to create the text, and I should have that. I'm really hoping by the next meeting.
Sure. On vacation?
He this week, yeah,
Okay.
but he said he'd get back with me as soon as he got back. So going into new business, we have the cadet program all set up. BWC ran a couple different codes through their legal counsel and was decided to go ahead with the U69 code. But I need a motion approval to enter into a contract with BWC for the purpose of providing workers' comp coverage to police cadets and to authorize the administrator to execute the agreement.
I'll make that motion.
Second? Vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, and Steve, you can tell Bobby to go ahead and get started. This is just a formality. I think the next one's yours, Chet.
So I have a quick question. I know this was to jog my memory, but when we increased the fee for licenses, I think it was $5. There was much discussion about what that money should be used for. And I thought it was for the purpose of saving for the future for drainage projects.
Correct.
Because Ian has no magical money for those kind of projects. And I know Ian and Andy work diligently on this, but I just think that this board should start setting aside money, if possible, in a separate fund. If you tell me I can't do it,
You can't do it in a separate fund.
okay, how can I
It's
do it?
against the law. Well, the auditor's office discourages, you can do subcategories in UAN, but they discourage that just because it gets too convoluted. I think Mary and I can talk about it, but I guess my thought was to just create like a spreadsheet. So when it comes in, we can divide it up on a spreadsheet and keep that off to the side because you get the notifications in quarterly. Is that right?
I'm not sure. I mean, we've gotten one that
Yeah.
looks like it might be a
Right.
result of that, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah. So we're going to have to give them a call and make sure, because she got something new in, although it was only for what, $289 something.
38, yeah.
Right. So we need to get verification on how they can provide that information to tell us exactly how much extra is coming in from that resolution for the additional $5. But to not create more line items, because when it comes to audits, they don't really like to see those. We cannot do a new fund. It has to be within the motor tax fund and keep it there. So, but just the other thing I want to add to is Michelle has this on her agenda, but the real budget happens closer to the end of the year when we have real data to go on. And that's when all those additional things are created anyway.
What's the approximate amount think we'll get from that?
We don't know for sure. She got just a brand new notification in for $289, but it's not real specific. But because we're just assuming that that's it because it's a brand new thing and this extra resolution just kicked in. So we just have to verify.
No, it was just a notification.
It was just a notification. Yeah. So, but it was for a very small amount. So we got to figure it out. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, this is
Not gonna
on,
get you very far on drainage.
No.
yeah, but this is,
But that was thinking in my head, isn't it like, it's like $5 for each time we get a license renewed, right?
right. So it should be in theory, a
Yeah.
lot more than
You
that.
have, what, roughly what, 1,400
Like
homes, two
two
cars,
days at the end of some quarter,
Yeah.
yeah.
$10 per home, that'd be about $14,000.
It hasn't been quite a year since we added that, correct?
Right,
'Cause I thought it was-
right, because it had to go into, yeah,
I have to go into
Yeah.
effect with the-
right.
Yeah.
Right,
Did we have $10, 5 and 5, or did we just do 5?
5.
Because we chose not to do the other 5?
No, the first 5 was part of, you know, the monies we we're getting in. It was just an automatic
Okay,
increase. This
Okay.
other was where you had to do the resolution to say, yes, we would like to have
Oh.
these additional $5
Okay.
per. But it's very much on our radar.
okay.
Let's see, the reciprocal, Andy, the reciprocal easement, you know, the thing with Columbus, I emailed Joe, but I just did it today. Do you happen to know where they are with that? I know last time we got an email saying Columbus was just being very slow about it, getting their okays and approvals.
The reciprocal easement. Can you refresh my memory?
Yeah, what was it? It's the thing over here with Mount Carmel sharing
They
this
wanted that,
easement.
I'll follow up with Joe. I wasn't in the office today, so I'll track them down and find out what's going on, but I haven't heard anything. So,
It had something to do with Columbus though, because of the roadway and
Yeah.
stuff. So,
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Not the easement.
Not over this way,
Okay.
no. So that's second on my list is that the gentleman, when he called me before I went on vacation and it sounded like it was kind of a pressing thing. So I responded, you know, what the trustees asked is like, we want some form of compensation. So put that into your proposal. When I got back, and I've been back for 2.5 weeks now, still hadn't heard anything. So I reached out to the city manager in Dublin. She doesn't know this person. I reached out to Mount Carmel today. They don't know this person, so they referred me back to somebody at Dublin. So I'm going to call them tomorrow to
I mean, should you have to run that down if they aren't in contact and aren't pursuing it?
well, it was just the idea that this project is supposed to start third quarter next year. They're supposed to be in their whole planning thing. So
You have so much on your plate.
Yeah.
I mean, like.
well, it was an
They're not-
email. It was a couple emails, but it's just not making a lot of sense to me that nobody knows this guy. But when I spoke with him, he said he was working with the city of Dublin and that the city of Dublin had said that the board of trustees would not wish, they'd be okay to just give it for
It's
free.
Dublin, Ohio, right?
Dublin, Ohio, correct. Correct. So I emailed him, I've called him. So,
Who's he with?
hey,
and systems, yes. Mhm.
hey, Beth, I just texted Dan Levanek with Hplex to see what he knows. So I'll see
might
what
call
he
Dan.
responds.
Andy, I emailed Dan this morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
didn't know?
No. So he said that there's a lady named Terry over at the city of Dublin with a transportation department somehow
That may know?
that may know. So I'm going to try and get a hold of her tomorrow.
Okay,
But it's just,
that's weird.
Well,
It
kind
is-
of, hey, Beth, just like what Michelle said, I mean, it's the ball's in their court. I mean, if we don't have to give away any of our ground, I wouldn't, spend a lot of time. The ball's obviously in their court, so let's
Yeah.
see what happens.
really strange that sounded like it was a kind of a pressing thing when I get the package put together and over here, and then all of a sudden he disappears off the planet. So
Maybe when it wasn't free, it became less.
that could be,
appealing.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's fine.
You don't really need it.
All right. So I believe that there is a proclamation in your packets for National Night Out
Just
at
pass it
Epcot.
over.
You just sign it.
Oh.
I move to approve the proclamation for National Night Out for Courtyards at Riverside, Epcot, August the 1st.
Second.
Vote, yes.
Yes.
Thank you. I want to let you all know that I found a bye week and hopefully Ohio State does not reschedule on me this time around. But I've got it out okay through the school, and Allstra is scheduled for September 30th, 9 to 11 at Brookside, 11:30 to 1:30 at Worthington Hills. I know we talked last year, Michelle, about asking for ID, so I'm going to be working with Luke on getting stuff to push out. But I do want to provide the residents with an explanation why we're having to do this. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we were saying a $5 limit. Was that
Yes.
right? Okay.
And I thought also personal,
Yeah.
not business.
Right, no business,
Which
just
is one of
personal
the issues
documentation.
we continue to have, and I am happy to help. I mean, since I'm happy to help draft if need be and communicate.
Well, that's what
as well.
I was talking to Luke the other day, and I said, I really think what we need to do, because there were certain folks who kind of keep that coming back, perhaps to just send a letter out from the township saying FYI, this is.
Put their names in the announcement.
Probably not, but I know that you know some of the folks too, but that was really last year. I mean, some of the folks from Worthington Hills were coming down because the game got rescheduled, and I get that. So but before we even left Brookside, the truck driver's like, we don't have a lot of room.
Right.
And luckily we got back up to Worthington Hills, and it proved to be the case. Most people came down to Brookside, but I don't want residents not being able to get their stuff shredded.
100% agree. I mean, whether it's
because
out of
some
neighborhood or out of township or the
people taking
folks
advantage. Yeah, exactly. So I want to let you know that's on the schedule. Sergeant Miller is working on, we're trying to get set up at both schools, a suicide prevention workshop for parents. Nationwide Children's is willing to help with that. I put the request in for those, I think it was the 27th and 28th of September. They're with Worthington Schools. I'm waiting for approval. They just had a note that they're just verifying. Because I said the gym, number 1 would be the preference, cafeteria, number 2. So I'm just waiting to hear back on that.
So that's September 27th and
27th and 28th, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, flock cameras is done. Right-hand turn lane's done. The only other thing. Oh, did you talk about the grant monies?
Oh, no. Thanks for Lieutenant Conkle. I'm glad you brought that up. We are working to get another $28,000 from OCJS towards our body cameras.
Very nice.
So
Didn't that approved, you said?
well, we think, I don't want to speak too much, but we sent a letter to the director of OCJS because Lieutenant Conkle reached out to somebody and they said, do this process. And they responded today and said they are willing to help us with 28,000. So I'm assuming it's the full amount, and they've already started the paperwork for us, so we will finish it tomorrow.
Great,
Fantastic.
good. That would be helpful. And the last thing on my agenda is, because I didn't get to help celebrate, I want to wish Mr. Warren a happy birthday. So it was his birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday.
And that's all I have.
It's not a national holiday.
Not a national holiday, not a national month either. Yeah,
Should be, right?
should be.
So it's really my turn now.
It is, yeah.
Something else.
Yes.
Okay. Request a resolution authorizing and requesting the levying of 0.5 inside millage in the Perry Township Road District.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Vote?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And request a resolution authorizing the collection of 4 tax levies and suspending for 1 year the collection of 3 tax levies for fire protection.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Vote?
Yes.
Yes.
And also, as Beth mentioned, it is, as you folks have heard me say for a number of years, the time for the request of approval of the budget that doesn't really mean a lot other than work and effort to people. But in other words, let me put that appropriately. Motion to approve the 2024 operating budget.
I'll make that motion.
Second vote,
Yes.
yes.
And.
Hey, Michelle, can I butt in real
Yeah.
quick on the budgeting thing? Hey, for our meeting on the 28th, I think it is, that we're gonna be looking at strategic plans. Do we want to separate that meeting? I know it's a 2-hour meeting, but do we want to separate that and meet with like road for an hour and then police for an hour? Instead of having them sit through each other's, and then we can just kind of focus in on road and focus in on police.
Yeah, that's fine. It works.
And then the other question, this one's for Ian and Chief. Hey, can you guys, when you guys put together your strategic plans, can you also kind of figure out what your wish list is going to be for 2024? Kind of identifying any kind of purchases that you want to make, that sort of thing, and basically put that as part of your strategic plans. And if you guys can put numbers to it, that would be good as well.
That's where the helicopter comes in.
Yep.
So why you said, first of all, you want to do payroll?
Sure.
No.
Request motion for approval of payroll and disbursement.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Second vote.
Yes.
So to that point, Andy, I know this requires probably another meeting, but maybe we do need to have another one, but I'm trying to think about topics. I'd like the admin side of the house also to have time to talk about what they see strategic planning wise and budgeting wise for the next year. Because there's just some items that I think fall in that category that don't necessarily fall in the police and road. And so we'll probably want to look at schedules to kind of do that and maybe use the remainder of the time for overall discussion about where we're heading.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to go, 40, or if it's another meeting, that's fine too. I just, I know this is a little bit different of a process, and I just want to make sure that we're, being as efficient as we can with everybody's time.
Right.
So don't disagree with the concept. Let me ask a question though. So given, is there going to be some, how do I put this? I know you're going to review their plans before the initial meetings, but given that those organizations roll up through admin, is there going to be overlap where you want time like to prepare and have that meeting separate, or do you want to do it at the end?
We could just do it at the end.
Okay.
That's fine. I don't really anticipate needing a lot of time. I really don't. So.
What?
No, I have a hard kind of 2-hour max for that meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I was thinking if it needed to
This
be
is
a
the one-
separate part.
11:30 to 1:30, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
The last part of it.
Yeah. So, but I think it's
Because I don't want you to get cut off either.
Right.
no, and like I said, I really don't think I don't need a lot of time, but I appreciate you suggesting that.
Well,
But
we-
I think there's a lot to those two events.
Mhm.
Well, I bet, how about
But-
we do this? How about we see how it goes?
Yeah, we can see how it goes, and then
Let's
if
let
we have
them
to
do
have
their
another meeting,
presentations. We'll see
or
what's left. If
Right.
we have to roll it into a second meeting, we'll roll it into
Yeah.
a second meeting.
we could like maybe do it before and after another,
That's what I
a
was
regular
gonna say,
meeting
yeah.
or something like
Yeah.
that. So that's fine.
Okay, we'll figure something out.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Anything else for the good order? None? For a motion to adjourn.
That motion.
Second, vote.
Yes.